Animals look to play a huge role in the world of Hytale. Today, we're going to be taking a look at every single animal that has made an appearance so far. This video will be purely focused on the animals, meaning the races like the Quebecs, the Trorks, and the Sloth people, as well as monsters like the Giant Yeti and the Giant Wasp will all be excluded. I'll most likely be making a separate video on those in the future. Animals have always been a big part of some of my favorite games. Pokemon entirely based around catching and training animals, as well as many other games having pets, mounts, and taming, and from what we've seen, Hytale will have all of these. So I'm going to split this video up into 3 main parts. The first is just going to be basic animals, which will just be a list of animals we don't have very much information on. I'm not going to spend too much time on these animals, but I want you guys to get an idea of just how many unique animals have already been showcased, and the trailer was only released a month ago. Second, we'll go over some special animals. This basically just means animals that have some sort of specialization or some sort of trait that looks unique. We'll cover a few of the cooler animals, and it'll allow us to get an idea on what taming, breeding, specialized animals, and pets will look like in Hytale. And then for the last section, I just want to go over some speculation and some of my personal hopes for animals in the Hytale universe. So first up, we have the basic animals. Most of these animals are very cool, but we don't have enough information on them to cover them in more detail. So here is every animal we've seen so far in Hytale. The first animal we see 4 seconds into the trailer flying around in the background is some form of bird. I'm gonna assume it's either a crow or a blackbird of some kind. We can't really see it up close, so that's just a guess. Only a few seconds later in the trailer, we see a scene of a fox chasing a rabbit. With this and some other information from Hytale's official blog post, we can confirm that animals will actually hunt each other in the wild, meaning these two probably aren't just playing. One thing to note that's kind of cool, this rabbit seems to have some kind of horns on its head. Maybe it's actually a jackalope and not a rabbit. This one almost slipped by, but in the background here, we can actually see a small little bluebird sitting on this little structure. Now, of course, as expected, we have both dogs and cats. We see these two appear a few different times, but we don't really get too many different variations of the dogs and cats, so who knows, maybe there's only gonna be one version of each. Hopefully there will be more, but we've only seen the 2. We also see chickens in the same scene as this dog. However, we're going to hold off on talking about them because they are a little bit more specialized and we have a little bit more information on how exactly they're going to function in Hytale. And then we have an owl just sitting in a tree. It seems like we'll have a lot of different birds in this game. We see a couple deer in this scene, which is really neat because it does confirm that there is male and female variations. At least that's what I'm taking away from this. It could be wrong, who knows, maybe one of the antlers just hasn't grown in on one of the deer, but I'm gonna say that it is most likely we are going to see male and female variations for some of the animals in Hytale, which is really, really cool because that's something that we don't really get in Minecraft. And then we catch a small glimpse of a frog in this scene. And here we have a small little look at a couple of polar bears. Now these are actually cool because they show off that some animals will have unique swimming animations, which is really neat. Of course, there are a lot of sea creatures in this game, but there's also animals that are land animals that have swimming animations. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a guess that pretty much every animal in the game will have a swimming animation. Next up, we have even more birds. We see some vultures flying around in this scene, and there's actually quite a few other animals here. We also see gazelle that look to be a herding animal, so I'm going to assume some animals will actually spawn into the world in groups and they'll stay together as a herd. There's also some other animals that we can see in the background here, but I can't really make them out enough to guess what they actually are. And then we have the parrot, which looks like to be another animal you can actually tame, which is going to be very cool because not only can you get dogs and cats, but you can also get parrots. And I'm going to go ahead and guess that there are quite a few other animals that you can also tame in this game. Who knows, maybe every animal in the game will be able to be tamed. That would be pretty cool. And now we have one of my favorite parts of the trailer, the underwater scenes. Hytale's oceans look to be even more full of life than the land above. In only a few seconds, we see dozens of different species of fish. Well, maybe not dozens, maybe like a dozen. And we also see some of my personal favorites being the pufferfish and the clownfish. We also see starfish and crabs, which is cool. And we see 2 different species of shark. One looks to be a hammerhead shark. However, my favorite underwater animal from this entire part of the trailer has to be the eel, which we only see for a few short seconds. The last animal we see in the trailer hiding deep in a cave is bats. Hopefully we'll see some other unique animals underground, but for now, bats are the only animal underground that made an appearance in in the trailer. That's most of the animals we see in the trailer. I did leave a couple out, and we'll discuss those in a bit later on in the video. On top of the trailer, I decided to go ahead and check out Hytale's blog post to see if there's any other animals I could find. So both snakes and pigeons appear in an official blog post, and we also see another underground animal, which is a very cool looking snail. It kind of seems like it might be some form of lava snail, which confirms there will be more than just bats lurking underground as you explore caves. And the final animal that we don't have very much information on is horses. Now this was actually in the World Generation blog post, and there's just a little horse with its head buried in a block. I'm not even sure if it was supposed to be there, but it shows up on an official blog post, so I decided to include it in this video. So that's it. All of the basic animals we know about so far in the world of Hytale. Keep in mind, they're only basic because we don't know enough about them. Many of them will most likely have very cool and unique traits. Chickens, one of the most common animals in any game with a hint of farming. These guys show us a ton of very cool Hytale features. The first of which is breeding. Seeing the little chicks all but confirms there is a way to breed your animals in Hytale, and it means you most likely will be able to grow your farm without having to go out and constantly find more of a specific animal. We also see they have specialized chicken coops, meaning we will see some form of specialized buildings that don't really follow the same rules as other blocks in the game. They have kind of different angles to them, and the block sizes that build up the structure actually aren't the same as a regular block in the game, which is kind of cool and kind of a little bit weird because, I don't know, personally I like the building aspect of Minecraft where you'd have to build your own coop block by block, but this is a cool twist on it, and it's kind of cool to see that there is also a fox hiding in the background. So based on some other information that we got from blog posts, most likely that fox is trying to get your chickens, so you will need to protect your animals from predators. Chickens will also only allow you to take their eggs if they are familiar with you, meaning you will need to create a safe environment to be more likely to safely gather eggs, otherwise they'll actually attack you. Now here we have one of the most unique animals that we saw in the entire trailer. It is a ram, which is the only animal we actually see the player use in combat as a mount, which is really awesome. So it does confirm that you will be able to ride certain animals. I assume you're going to be able to ride the rams as well as the horses, and who knows how many other animals you'll actually be able to ride. I'm really hoping that they allow a lot of the larger animals to be rode, including things like the gazelle, maybe even the saber-toothed tiger. Speaking of which, these are one of the coolest animals we've gotten to see so far. It does confirm that the animal doesn't necessarily have to be alive today in the real world in order to be added into Hytale. Now, we already kind of knew that because we saw a dragon in the trailer, but this is the first animal, other than I guess the jackalope, that is an animal that does no longer exist in the real world. Saber-toothed tigers are of course extinct, so it's pretty cool. And we also got some information about these guys, how they will actually hide in the undergrowth and hunt prey animals, which is really awesome, and you'll actually need to kind of figure out the way that they hunt animals in order to hunt them, otherwise you're going to be running into some trouble. The very last animal I want to talk about, this one was a little bit different from the others. It's actually wolves, or wolf pets, as shown in the official blog post. These guys are only shown as a pet for a race called the Trorks. The reason I actually decided to show the wolves is because it shows that Hytale has created a combat AI for animals that actually follow its owner. So this wolf will follow its owner Trork, which is really cool, and it definitely opens up a lot of possibilities for animals that the player may be able to get that will help aid in combat. That's over 28 animals in the game was announced a month ago. To put that in perspective, Minecraft has, I believe, around 25 animals, and it's been receiving updates for nearly a decade. I didn't even include animals that are all but confirmed, animals that have an extremely high chance of actually showing up in the game, but we didn't really see them in the trailer or in any blog posts, so we can't 100% confirm them, but most likely we'll be seeing things like pigs, cows, and sheep in the game, because they're pretty much in every game that has to do with farming. Now, I will say we did actually see a pig in the trailer, however, it was during the modding section, so I decided to exclude it because that doesn't really feel like it is a definite confirmation that it is very likely to be in the game, but it's a pig. It's a game with farming. If it didn't have pigs, it would feel like something was missing. They'll most likely be in the actual game. I can't wait to see what animals are actually announced for Hytale. I hope that they add a ton more, and actually some of my favorites that I really hope to see are mammoths. They have saber-toothed tigers, why not add mammoths? They also have sloths, so you know you could get an Ice Age thing going on there. Plus, baby mammoths would be adorable in the game. I would also like to see sea turtles, that's just one of my favorite animals, and I would also like to see dragons. Now, they do show a massive dragon at the end of the trailer. I didn't really include that because it looked like it was more of a boss that you fight. However, it would be really cool if they had smaller variants that you could tame and ride, or you know what, just let us tame the giant one. That would be really cool too. The depth of animals could be very deep or very shallow. We'll just have to wait and see until the game is fully released. One thing I know for sure, if modding tools are all that they are promised to be, we are going to be seeing some pretty amazing creations in Hytale, and all of those little animals I just mentioned at the end there that aren't 100% confirmed. Those can definitely be added fairly easily with mods as long as Hytale releases all of their tools for creating their own animals, because pretty much you'll just take one of the other animals, you'll change the model out, and boom, you have a brand new creature in Hytale. But that's going to be it, guys. If you did enjoy and you are excited for Hytale, make sure to subscribe to the channel and leave a like on the video so I know you want to see more Hytale content. I'm super excited for this game, and it is something I am going to continue covering here on the channel. Let me know down in the comments below what I should cover next. Thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.